Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of Clockedin with me, your host, Jordan Edwards. I'm thrilled to have you tune in as we dive into the dynamic world of productivity, success, and stories of incredible individuals who've mastered the art of getting things done. Whether you're commuting, hitting the gym, or just relaxing at home, this podcast is the go-to source for inspiration and actionable tips to level up your productivity game. I'm on a mission to unravel the secrets of those who seem to effortlessly manage their time and achieve their goals. So if you're ready to clock in and unlock your full potential, you're in the right place. We've got a lineup of amazing guests, industry experts, and thought leaders who will share their insights and strategies to help us crush your to-do list and make the most out of every moment. Get ready to get inspired, motivated, and equipped with the tools you need to supercharge your productivity. This is Clockedin with Jordan Edwards. Let's dive in. Hey, what's going on? I got a special guest today. We have Peter Vekselman. He's the CEO of Partner-Driven Real Estate Investing. He's a seasoned investor, and he's been a leader in the real estate industry for over 30 years. He's successfully done over 3,600 deals. That's a lot. Today, he leads a team of real estate professionals who continue to close deals around the country. Peter's passion is breaking down the barriers that hold people back from becoming real estate investors. He eliminates virtually every obstacle through partnering on deals. Peter provides 100% of the capital and brings his expertise and world-class team to actively partner on closing deals. Peter has helped hundreds of new and seasoned investors. His goal is to help newcomers get their first deal done and keep them rolling. Peter, welcome.
Jordan, I appreciate you having me. Great to be here. Thank you.
Absolutely. We're excited to have you on Clocked In. And so, Peter, where does your story start? Obviously, you're 3,600 deals later, but where does this journey start for you?
Well, there's so many starting points to an entrepreneur's career. I guess most people, when they talk to me, want to know where real estate started. And, real estate started for me a couple decades ago by accident. As I'm sure, again, so many things happen in this business or any other entrepreneur's career. I got out of a totally unrelated business. I was in the merchant services business, credit card business, basically. Owned about 15 franchises. It became a corporate operation. I was no longer in charge. I was no longer the owner. It was just too corporate for me. It's not what I want to do as an entrepreneur. So I got out of that. Just one day was given a book, knew nothing about this industry, read a book overnight, thought it was the best thing since anything. I mean, I just wow.
Yeah.
I got actually started in the mobile home business, which some people don't even consider real estate, but it's close enough. And that's where my journey became 20 some years ago. Stayed in that industry for about 3 years, mobile homes. Overnight, that industry got wiped out. All the financing fell out of it. Jumped into the conventional real estate. I thought there was a parallel. There really wasn't, but I thought there was. Well, that little mistake of thinking it's the same as mobile homes, Jordan, actually cost me everything. Within 6 months, I'd lost everything. Within 2 months after that, I was basically living out of the backseat of my car. So I was trial by fire, I guess, as they call it in entrepreneurship. I got my butt handed to me, and then slowly started getting out of it.
Of course, but for you, what was the real mistake there? When you say you got into mobile homes, did you get into you just started buying mobile homes and then having people live in them, flipping them? What?
Yeah. Mobile homes was a great success story from A to Z. Really, there was always bumps along the way, but we got into it at a perfect time. My partner and I, Jeff, did. There was a lot of new money in the mobile home business back then. Every bank was getting into it. Bank of America was getting into it. Greenpoint, Greentree was getting MHFC from Michigan. So there was just a lot of money for us to use, not necessarily in a buy because they were so cheap, but on a sell. So as long as somebody had a breath and somebody had a beating heart, we can get financing for them. So we by the way, the one thing I did learn that I think your audience could benefit from, the one thing I did learn back then that to this day I value so much as an entrepreneur is I always say there's two ways to win if you want to be successful. One way is the way everybody tries to win, and that is the conventional way. Like, you got to outwork your competition, you got to be smarter, you got to stay later, you got to check in earlier. And I tell you, that is an extremely, extremely difficult way to win in life, because in the end, there's only room for very few people at the top. And let's face it, most of us are not smarter than most people. Most people are not going to be able to outwork their competition. So all of those things that it takes to win in a conventional way are very limited, right? The resources are limited. So what I learned back then is the ultimate way to win is to create your own playing field, and where there is no competition. And that is actually what we successfully did. That is what we successfully did with Jeff. We created a mobile home model. By the way, Jordan, if you know anything about Georgia, back then it was the capital of the world for mobile homes. I mean, there were tons of homes, so there was tons of competition. But we had created our own playing field, and we had created our own business model to move these mobile homes that nobody else was doing. So literally 2 new kids in a block within 6 months. Within a year after we got started, we had the largest brokerage of anyone here in Georgia. And again, that says a lot, especially for a couple of decades ago, because back then Georgia was not only littered with mobile homes, but it was littered with mobile home parks. It was littered with mobile home dealerships, tons and tons of competition, but created this unique model that nobody else was doing and rose to the top, and literally had this mediocre ride for about 3 years until literally, with no fault of our own, the whole industry just shut down, literally just shut down. All those players, they got into it with money, they just left. So within 6 months, our back end money dried up. We couldn't get, financing for our buyers anymore. So that's where the transition to real estate was made.
The pivot occurred. Wow.
The pivot occurred.
And what was that transition like? Because obviously that can be a scary moment. You build up and then...
It should have been a scary moment, but I took it too lightly because I drew this very close parallel. Again, another kind of nugget for people trying to be successful. Take things seriously. If you want to be successful, take things seriously, especially in the beginning state of your journey. Value things that I didn't value back then. But anyway, I just took it too lightly. I thought, okay, mobile homes, real estate, no big deal. I literally went to 2 seminars, which you and I both know you can't learn an industry by sitting at a seminar for 3 hours. But I thought I did. I thought I could take everything I learned in mobile homes, everything I learned for those 3 hours at a seminar. And then I just along the way started making some very, very fatal mistakes. For instance, I made the mistake of trusting the wrong people. That's very easy to do, especially in the beginning of your journey as a real estate entrepreneur, or really any entrepreneur. I mean, I always tell people there's a whole industry that exists that preys on new people. You know what I mean? They're like looking for new people. They're like vultures. And when they see guys like me, I guess I had a stamp across my forehead back then that said newbie, inexperienced, come and take advantage of me. And because that was really what happened. I mean, pretty much every single person that was involved in my world at that point took advantage of me. And I don't even think taking advantage is the right word, because taking advantage seems like almost like you're trying to get empathy, or you have a very fatalistic view, and that's not what it was. It was my fault. I let it all happen. But the thing, and I made some other mistakes. I got in too aggressively. Another key, you asked me what are some keys to success. Another key to success is that for a lot of us, by the way, me included, if I'm in, I like to go all in. Well, you should only go all in when you have plenty of things that you could fall behind on and lose. If you're going to go all in when you have like nothing, right? You have like no room for error, that some mistakes could be catastrophic. And as I told you before, mine ended up being. So you have to learn when it's okay to go in, but you also have to learn when it's not okay to go in. And I will tell you, before you become a subject matter expert at something, before you could rely upon yourself, your people, your team, your organization to drive the ship forward, when somebody else is driving the ship forward, I think it's a very dangerous time to be all in into anything.
Yeah, I mean, some of the stuff you brought up is really interesting, especially on the part where you were talking about does it make sense to rush into something where it's just let's take action versus the actual due diligence of, hey, we got to fully understand where we're at? Because I've always teetered on those lines of like, let's make it happen. And then we got to do the research. You know what I mean? They're two, it's the yin and the yang, and it can lead to a lot of mistakes if you're too heavy on one side or the other side.
And again, there are times where it's okay to go all in when you're set up correctly. There are times to go okay all in when you have enough cushion. There's times to go in right times to go in when you have enough information. When you don't want to go all in is when you don't know anything, you don't have enough information, you don't have the right people around you, you don't have the resources. It's like when you have nothing, then it's everything to lose. And that's what it did. The one thing I did have, I had some money back then, which was like the last thing I needed, because that was like the only thing I had to lose, and I lost it all. And so, again, I don't want to make it seem to your audience that we as entrepreneurs should play safe. We shouldn't play safe. But I also want to, impart upon your audience, we as entrepreneurs should play smart. And smart is always, always a faster way than just recklessly doing things. Yeah.
So what are some of the ways that you recommend people get smart? Obviously, doing the due diligence, building a team that actually can aid you in different ways, mentors that have been there. Anything else you think would be good?
Well, there's one that surpasses all of them, and you kind of hit upon it, but it's the ultimate shortcut to success. And it's funny. I rely upon this concept that I'm going to share with you more now than I did 22 years ago. And it could be argued I need it now less, since I am more equipped, I am smarter, I am, more this.
Yeah.
But the ultimate shortcut to success, in my opinion, is the ability to align yourself correctly with other people. Had I aligned myself, like what ultimately happened when I crashed, within 8 months, it was a disaster, pretty much living out of the backseat of my car. At that point, because I had no other options, I did align myself with a guy named Barton. Okay. And that became my 3-year journey to dig myself out of that hole. Had I had enough forethought, had I not had the wrong kind of attitude, because back then I thought alignment meant weakness. Had I not had that pompous attitude and aligned myself with Barton, not 8 months into my journey, but day one into my journey, I wouldn't have lost everything I would have had. I wouldn't have dug a $750,000 hole financially. I wouldn't have decimated everything that I had built up to that point. So the ultimate thing that I always tell people, the ultimate shortcut to success, like, I'll be honest with you. Let's say if I do, and I do every once in a while, if I'm to start a brand new journey in something, right?
Yeah.
A lot of times people say you have to get educated, you have to get the right resource. I think all those things are important. But to me, if I'm going into something I don't know, I'm spending more time trying to figure out how I can align myself with the right. Like even now, look, 2 decades in this business, thousands of real estate deals completed, right? Well, guess what? Just very recently, we went into a brand new strategy in a real estate business. Like by now, I have the time, I have the resources, I have the infrastructure, I have the people, I have the team to actually handle a brand new strategy. Guess what? I didn't do that. I found basically what I consider to be myself, the top team in the country doing that strategy. I aligned myself with them, brought them inside my organization. And now as we're going into that new strategy, I'm leading the charge from a standpoint of within my organization. But I have all the confidence in the world knowing we're doing the right thing because of the team I brought on. So to me, the ultimate shortcut to success is the ability to align yourself with the right people and the right individuals.
Yeah. And I think that's so important. And what are some of the ways you go about that? How do you dictate who's correct? Because like you said, mistrusting the wrong person can be an end too.
Well, you're right. It's a double-edged sword. And I'll tell you what, especially in the beginning, it's the toughest. Like at the level, again, if I've been doing this for a couple of decades, I've been in the same industry, I've achieved success. So when I'm aligning myself with somebody, it's very easy for me to put my feelers out and and check somebody out, right? Because of the reputations, because of my credibility in the industry, because of the people I know. So the further you go along in a journey, I believe the ability to align yourself gets easier and easier and easier. And it also makes more, it actually, believe it or not, makes more and more common sense to do it. But you're absolutely right. In the very beginning stages, alignment, although is the ultimate shortcut to success, in my opinion, you're absolutely right. It could be a very difficult thing to do. And, so you go by the common sense, you go by common sense. Number one thing I realized, if somebody just wants to do something for you for nothing, just because they like you, that's probably not a good start, right? Because that's a good hook until, okay, let me go ahead and take advantage of you. If somebody has no ability to be checked out, like for instance, the reason I got so destroyed in my beginning stages of the real estate business was a very specific part of real estate, and that was the contracting side. The contracting side just decimated me, right? Well, so let's say you're checking out a contractor. You're trying to align yourself with someone like that, or you're trying to align yourself with a supplier, or you're trying to align yourself with a mentor or coach. I always tell people, check them out. And if somebody is uncheckable, which, believe it or not, a lot of people are because of their shady history and because of the things they do, that's a warning sign, right? That's a warning sign. Talk to people. If you're going to align yourself, especially in the beginning stages, have communication with somebody. It's interesting, in my model today, I partner with people across the United States, and, we do real estate deals, and, I think we have an amazing program going.
Yeah.
But I can tell you, even with the credentials I bring to the table, not almost everyone, but a big portion of people that end up being my partners, they want to check me out. They want to check me out. They want to talk to somebody. They want to see someone. They want to connect with someone and all this. So I think those are, in the beginning, I used to take that almost personally, like, whoa, what do you mean? Why would you want to check me out? But the reality is I then one day realized it's what I teach people to do. It's what I teach people to do. So to really the bottom line is be smart. Be smart when you're aligning yourself with people. Check out references, do due diligence, talk to people, see what they've done, see what they're currently doing. And again, this is a very important piece. Don't go all in. Don't go all in. Just because you meet a guy that seems to have the gold of the end of the rainbow, don't give him your last $10,000 if that's the last $1,000 you have. And he's telling you to do something you have no expertise in, no industry experience in. You can't figure out who this guy is, but it just sounds cool. So that's what I mean. Have some common sense. I've seen people. I made very bad mistakes, obviously, as I was telling you the story. I mean, you could hear my story and you could see through it. Like, well, why'd you do that? Why'd you do that? Why'd you do that? Yeah. So, I pick on myself, so I don't mind picking on some other people sometimes too. But I will tell you, a lot of people, especially, and I know you shared with me, your audience is full of entrepreneurs, but a lot of entrepreneurs, when they find themselves at the end of the road, meaning I'm out of money, I'm out of time, I'm out of everything, and this ain't going to work, most of those journeys could be traced back with a lot of red flags along the way. You know what I mean? It didn't just sure, every once in a while, something bad happens, catastrophic happens. But most of the time, they were red flags ahead of time. Trusting the wrong people, doing the wrong things, all that kind of stuff. So be smart. Use common sense, use common sense.
Yeah. And from what you're saying, it really comes down to understanding who you are and the habits that you're kind of building as you go. Like I see it happen all the time, like you're saying, where it's not a catastrophic event. Most of the time, it's not like you're a hurricane. That didn't happen for sure. But most of the time, it's these little indicators that we just don't pick up on because we're so excited about the opportunity.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And those are good things. It's good to be excited about what you're doing. It's good to be kind of, to a degree, hey, this is going to be my future. And then, so those are good emotions, because those also emotions allow you to work through the crap that's going to happen along the way. But again, you should always have common sense along the way. And have some kind of checks and balances. for the companies that people try to leave to become entrepreneurs, right? The General Motors of the world, the Procter and Gamble's, the Ford Motor Companies, the Facebooks, IBM.
Yeah.
Think about the reason they've got, even though people try to get out of those worlds, and I could appreciate that. I can't imagine myself sitting behind a desk the whole day. But at the same time, there's some things those companies do very well. Like they do have checks and balances. They do have red flags. They do have fail-safe mechanisms. They do have triggers. This is why they've gotten the size they have. So, I always tell people, yeah, I get it. You want to leave something, but at the same time, you may learn something where you're at. See how they operate. How did they get to be 100 employees? How did they get to be 30, 40, 50 employees? How did they get to be 2,000 employees, and to be that? So there's a lot of things these companies actually do right that a lot of us who want to become entrepreneurs could actually learn from.
Yeah. And I love that point. Also, the point that you brought up about not going all in. You want to explain a little bit further about that? Because I find that one interesting.
Well, that could be in many different fields or in many different aspects. But I think the one thing, and by the way, you hear this all the time. You hear these incredible entrepreneurs, they bet the house and they won. And then the big one is, I'm here in Atlanta. The big one here is Ted Turner, this guy that owned the Braves, the CNNs. And there were multiple times in his career where he did financially go all in. And guess what? Every time he won. But guess what? Every time he put it all on the line. And I don't know. I'm not going to argue with the guy that's worth the kind of money Ted Turner is worth. But I'm just saying that, it's okay, I think, to go in with your effort. Matter of fact, you should go. If you're going to do something, the effort should definitely be all in. Right? Yeah. Because I could tell you the other way is not going to work. The half-ass, I'm just going to put my, tippy toe in. I'm just going to try it out. So the effort, the commitment, that's all in. Financially, I'm probably going to put a draw line there and not recommend, especially initial entrepreneurs, go all in financially, especially if there's no safety net.
Yeah, and there's not that proven cost because it's tough because you go off and you have these very ambitious goals. Like everyone sees the Zuckerberg who's like, oh, he did it. And you're like, well, why can't we all do it? And it's difficult to understand that that's years and years and years of time. So back to it for you. So you get knocked out from, was that single family when you moved from mobile homes to single family? And you were just buying the single family trying to sell them?
And to this day, it's still single family.
Yeah.
22 years later, I've never deviated from that, by the way.
So it's the redemption. So what ended up happening that was the bring down, and then what allowed the bring back up, the comeback?
Well, the bring down was what we talked about. I was pompous. I was arrogant. I didn't ask for help. I trusted the wrong people. Every person involved in the deal ripped me off. Contractors ripped me off from that standpoint. Realtors misrepresented the numbers. Money people gave me the wrong term. So that was the bring down. The redemption was connecting with the right person. The pathway to getting me out of it was connecting with Barton, and then actually starting this whole process was aligning. But it's not just aligning, it's replicating and it's duplicating and it's being coachable and it's being a long-term player and it's being a visionary and it's being able to withstand incredible disappointments that come along. It's one thing to be disappointed when you got $1 million or $500,000 or $100,000 in your checking account. It's very different to be disappointed when you're flat out broke. You know what I mean? And you're constantly being, well, this isn't working, and this person doesn't want to sell, and this person doesn't want to sell. So it's, I'm pretty proud of the pathway that I took for those 3 years, because back then, even though I was on the right track and it was pretty evident pretty quickly I was on the right track, there was no financial rewards. Just because I was digging out of such a deep hole that I dug for myself.
And what did Barton help you do? What was his partnership in that assistance?
Well, the biggest thing is he taught me who to trust in his business, because in the end, that's what cost me the most money. He also taught me He taught me everything. He taught me how to read numbers in real estate. He told me that real estate is not a market-driven business, it's a pocket-driven business. He got me refocused at single family, although I lost all my money in single family and I was trying to get out of it. He got me refocused. No, that's the pathway for you. He got me refocused that don't go wide, meaning don't do 20,000 different things. Go vertical. Go vertical, get very good at one or two things and do those things. So that's ultimately what I learned from him, that to this day I still implement, and to this day that the things that I still follow and things I still do.
Absolutely. So when did Partner Driven start? Because I know that's your project now.
Well, it's more than a project. It's my life now. I say projects are things you try and do for a short period of time. What I do with Partner Driven, that's our life. But Partner Driven started several years back. I would say fairly successful as a real estate investor. We were rocking it out. We actually had set up about 17 locations across the United States in which we were doing deals. Atlanta, the hub, we had a location in Jacksonville, Florida, all the way to West Coast, California. So what I had learned during that time of being a single investor, I was a single investor, but I had a tremendous team. I had a tremendous organization. We were we're just knocking this business out. But what I learned back then is how to do things remotely, which for anyone that doesn't know real estate, that is an art form. Doing things remotely, it's like, the difference between, I'm going to drive a car as opposed to I'm going to drive a Formula One race car. They're both cars that have nothing to do with each other. But doing things remotely is very much a skill set and art form in the real estate business. So I had learned that as an investor. But what happened is we wanted to figure out, how do we start doing deals beyond those 17 locations? How do we do deals across the United States? Like if there was opportunities in places we didn't have physical locations, how can we take advantage of them? And that's where Partner Driven was born. We had initially kind of put the word out that, hey, if anyone out there in the United States finds a deal, we'll step up to the plate. We'll provide you the capital. We'll kind of work you through the deal. And then on the back end, we'll split profits. And it caught on the name. The mantra was, you find it, we fund it. And I'll tell you, Jordan, that concept took off. It took off so much that even Hollywood called me. And they wanted to do a reality show on us because they're like, wow, this is incredible. A real life guru helping real life people do deals and splitting profit. And it sounded really cool. And obviously that was the initial inception of where Partner Driven is today. But the execution was not cool. And as a matter of fact, the first year in Partner Driven model, doing deals with people across the United States, financially was a disaster. I had lost hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars, because we didn't have the right systems in place. We didn't have the right matrix in place. And it took us a year or two just to right the ship back then. And years down the road, here's where we are today. Today, all of our deals are done with everyday people across the United States. And the best way I could describe, Jordan, what we do today is we provide what I call our essential pillars of success if you're going to be a real estate investor. If in the investing game, just like I'm sure in the merchant services game, just like I'm sure in the accounting game and the engineering game, there are certain must-haves. Like if you don't have them, you ain't going to be successful. Well, real estate has several of those. They have these, what we call pillars of success. And unless somebody really masters these pillars at the very highest levels, they're not going to be very successful. Matter of fact, truth be told, and I hate sharing this, very few people do become successful in real estate. If you look at how many people get in and want to do it, the reality on the back end, very few people ever do become successful where they actually are able to make consistent money. And that's because they never master these pillars. And so what Partner Driven is, Jordan, in essence, at Partner Driven under one roof, we do provide all of these pillars that are necessary for someone to be successful. So now when somebody becomes my partner in Partner Driven, number one, we coach them. One of the key components of being successful in anything, by the way, this is not just real estate, but is you have to know what you're doing. That's a non-negotiable. And especially in real estate. And in real estate, the last thing you want to do is you want to learn as you go. You could sneeze the wrong way in real estate and lose, $20,000. So we coach partners up on a daily basis. And then we start doing unique things that nobody else does under one roof. For instance, we actually spend money in the cities where our partners are located, and we generate leads and opportunities for them. So we handle the marketing piece for them. To be a successful real estate investor, you need to have access to technology to make decisions, to get information. We have absolutely the latest and the greatest technology for our partners. My back office handles all the back office issues for my partners across the United States. They handle the contracts, inspections, to coordinate closings. They coordinate buyers, sellers, you name it, they do it. Then I do something that, as far as I know, nobody else is going to do for them. I provide them as much money as they want to do as many deals as they want. So when somebody becomes a partner of mine, they spend zero, no money out of pocket on deals. I provide all that to them. And then my construction team gets into these cities, helps them fix it, which is critical. Because again, if you know anything about real estate, where you're going to bleed the most is on the construction side. So we help our partners with that. Our team of realtors put these properties in the market. We sell them and split the profits down the middle, 50-50. And that is the partner-driven model. And, we've been doing this for years. I'm no longer a single investor, meaning I no longer have my own investment company looking for deals. Now my team and myself, we help partners across the United States, support them in this model. We got incredible success stories from our partners buying planes for themselves, to our partners retiring from their jobs, to our partners going from, totally decimated financial positions when they started with us to absolutely killing it in life when it comes from that side. So that's the partner-driven model, and that's who I am, and that's what I do now.
Yeah, absolutely incredible. I love the pillars with coaching, giving the marketing, helping them figure out where to go, the technology. Yep. It really does make a difference. So for you, what caused you to go about this approach? Because everybody else I've heard is, hey, it always seems like it's one side or the other. Like, we can help you with the deal, or we can help you with it. Like, need your money. Like, it's.
Yeah. By the way, I don't know if you understand what you just said, but this is why less than 3 to 5% of people ever become successful in real estate business. Real estate is not an organized industry, real estate investing. It is a very disorganized, disjointed operation. And that's exactly what happens. So an average investor does exactly what you just said. They go to one guru to learn some information, right? And by the way, there's plenty of top-notch, unbelievably incredible teachings out there as far as real estate investing is concerned. But so they go somewhere to learn, then they go out and they okay, well, now that I've learned this stuff, I got the concept down. So now they're okay, now I got to go find a deal. So let me try to figure out what kind of marketing. Okay, so they Google real estate marketing. And by the way, that's exactly what happens. And there's thousands of, thousands of different marketing schemes out there, and some good and some not so good. So you're just trying to figure out which one am I going to do. Then they're okay, now that I have some leads coming in, I got to know how to talk to these people. I've been an engineer my whole life. I've never negotiated. So let me get some learning and training. So they go somewhere else to learn how to negotiate, right? Then they're well, I need access to information. How do I know if this is good or bad, or where do I get it? So they, thousands of places to get information from now, technology wise. So they go something, get something. But then they're well, I need money. So, okay, so let me Google hard money lenders, right? And you have no idea, but that guy's going to make more money than you are on the deal, right? And then you're okay, then then the big part, right? If you ever get to this next part, it's construction. And that's a total sinkhole, right? That's where everybody gets taken advantage of, especially if you're new. Then you try to sell it. And the bottom line is, this is why it doesn't work. It's no different than me telling you, Jordan, okay, let's go build a Rolls Royce. And, come here to Atlanta, and there's about 20 different junkyards here. And let's go piecemeal it here and bring it together and put it together. It's not going to work. Doesn't work in real estate either. And this is why there's such an abysmal success rate in this industry. And that's what we've done here at Partner Driven. We brought everything under one roof. And that's the key component. That's the key. We no longer have to chase different parts and pieces. If you want to be successful, you can get it all with us under one roof.
Yeah, which is massive, because I was listening to another podcast yesterday, and it was talking about a couple, and they ended up buying a condo. They didn't even know about the HOA fees, the taxes, the insurance. They didn't realize how much the cost was. they get into the place and they're like, it's too expensive. We can't even afford it. And I say that just because if you start to add the construction element, the realtor element, the this, and the that, and it's intimidating. You have no idea where you're going, and you feel like you're getting spun around because everyone's like, I can help. Where to go.
And this is why so few become successful. And unfortunately, you could even take it a step further, Jordan. It's not that so few become successful. Most people leave with a lot of battle scars, financial battle scars, credit battle scars, stress battle scars, never to be seen again. So yeah, you're absolutely right. This business is littered. I hate to say it. This business is littered with unsuccess stories, especially on the newbie investor side.
Absolutely. So I know we got a couple more minutes. So what do you think about the market currently? I know that there's prices have gone up very quickly, and I think you know that too. What do you think about all this?
Well, more than that, what's taking place in the economy is a much bigger deal than the prices going up or the prices going down. I mean, let's face it, we're in a recessionary times. Interest rates are through the roof. Inflation, nobody knows when that's going to stop. But what that does is that creates opportunities. What that creates is motivated sellers. This is the time where an average person watching TV, or not even watching TV, watching what happens to their 401ks, or, being part of a company that announces job freezes or layoffs. They want to divest in the liquid. It's when people get scared. Well, as investors, this is what our business is all about. We help people that have these circumstances. So we have a huge new set of people that are looking to get rid of their properties. So that's a good thing. On the other side, we also have, believe it or not, less competition, because just like on this side of a lot of scared individuals, there's also a lot of scared investors. So the playing field, believe it or not, is actually emptying out. So more opportunities because there's more motivation on his side. Here, less competition, which means there's more opportunity. There's less people going after, believe it or not, more opportunities. So it's almost like the perfect storm. I could tell you right now, after doing this for over 2 decades, I have personally never, ever seen the kind of we're doing more deals now than we ever have. So right now is an incredible time to be in the real estate investing business.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, there was a lot of people cold from COVID. There was a lot of people scared. Can't do that. Can't do this. And I actually ended up getting my first place in March of 21. And it's up 50%. Like there's nothing beating it. It's very interesting.
Real estate goes up, real estate goes down. The one thing we all know about real estate, it's an ever-changing market. But I could tell you, especially again, what's taking place. And by the way, there's a very good chance that thing's going to start going down right now.
Absolutely. I know that. I know that.
So you know that. But again, it's beyond the going up and down in real estate. What's taking place in the economy right now is creating an incredible playing field for us as real estate investors. We're doing more deals with partners than we ever have. We have more partners jumping on, wanting to do deals with us. So in our industry, they said we're going to down economy. We're not in our world. We're in an up economy. You choose which side of the equation you want to be on. Yeah, absolutely.
And I think that point alone, whether it's real estate investing or not, it's what is your view on the world and how does that happen? And it makes a massive impact that, hey, we have an opportunity. We're going to make something happen here, or we're not. So how do people check out your program?
Couple ways. Number one, if somebody wants to check me out along with the program, best way I tell them is just connecting with me through social media. Like for instance, they go to Instagram.com/my name, Peter Vekselman. I'm sure it's on a screen.
Yeah. We'll put that.
So if they want to connect with me, and if they go to Instagram, just go to the link in my bio. But if you've gotten links from Kristen in my office, then I'm sure you have some.
Yeah, the affiliate links. Yeah.
Just hit the link and put your information in. Myself, the team member will touch base with you, and we'll see if we're a good fit. So again, if you want to check me out, go to Instagram.com/Peter Vekselman. If If you like what you see there, follow me, go to link on my bio, and you'll be able to connect with me. Or if you're ready to jump in and ready to talk business and ready to figure out if we're a good fit for each other, most importantly, if you're ready to make money in the real estate investing, Jordan's got some links here below. Probably just hit the link, put your information in there. Myself and my team members will touch base. We'll see if we're a good fit, and then we'll be rock and rolling. Off we go to the races.
Absolutely. Yeah, I'll definitely put all that in the show notes. I got a couple more questions, Peter. What do you think has allowed you to have the most success, like have financial success for you?
Well, again, it's the basic principles of you don't quit. Another thing that I've learned that I love to share with people is the reason I think so few become successful, they don't know how to correctly evaluate their journey to success. So many people judge success, especially in the beginning, based upon how much money am I making? How many deals have I done? What are my results? Totally wrong. Totally wrong. So what they do is then they pigeonhole, they put success into a box, whereas in the beginning, it's, success should be judged by activity based, by what's taking place, the measurable kind of things. So the understanding of how to correctly judge your journey to success, Jordan, I think is one of the key components of being successful. By the way, this is another reason why you better align yourself with someone. This is one of the things we do for our partners here is we literally put mile markers. We judge, we tell them where they are in their journey to success. Been there, done that. They align with myself. I've done over 3,600 deals. I could judge somebody's road to success, especially as it's tied into the real estate investing business. But if somebody listening to this, if this is not for them, meaning in real estate, another important reason why they want to align themselves with someone more successful.
Yeah, I think that's huge because when I was going through this, in the regard of figuring out what does success mean to me, one of the things I always utilize, like there's the monetary success, but I know a lot of millionaires who are very sad. So is it the happiness scale? Is it what is it the scale for you that dictates your happiness? And I'm asking this to the audience just because it's really important because you can set yourself up for a lot of pain if you just focus on the monetary success point, as we said. Awesome. And then my last thing is, what do you think tends to hold, and we kind of covered it, but what do you think tends to hold back first-time investors? Because I know that's where you definitely help out.
It's the mistakes I made. It's trusting the wrong people. It's not having the right information. It's not understanding what a deal or no deal is. It's not having access to the right kind of capital when you need it. It's just the basic stuff that everybody really knows they need. Everybody knows they got to know what they're doing.
Yeah.
People know they want to get in real estate. They better have access to capital. People that get in real estate know they got to have other people involved, so they better be trustworthy. You know what I mean? And so it's just having, being smart, logic it out. What do you need? And then make sure you align yourself with the people that have what you need.
Absolutely. I appreciate the time, Peter. This has been fantastic. We'll have all the links in the show notes. Thank you for coming on. This has been amazing.
I enjoyed it, Jordan. Thanks for having me.
Thank you for reaching the end of the podcast. For that, we'll give you a complimentary coaching session in the link below with Edwards Consulting. Hope to see you there and have a great day and keep clocking in.